Ooh, I love that music.
I know you
I haven't
do.
heard it in a while.
Well, welcome back to the social medias from your self-imposed exile. How are you doing?
Yes, well, it was very cold in Siberia, but I packed extra socks, so I made it. It was really weird feeling very alone and disconnected from the world. But I have not made a full return. In fact, this show is only my second tweet in the past. I don't even know how many days. And yeah, it's been really nice. It's been quiet. I have somewhat missed all of you, and nice
Some
to be
more than
back.
others, maybe.
Well, but I mean, I've been busy, man. I mean,
No,
came
I
to
know.
president of the
Well,
YMCA. I've been
welcome,
volunteering. I've
kind
been
of back.
working.
I know you're gonna ease into it, and we talked about actually doing a show
I am. I am. I'm
about
going to time
FOMO
box.
versus dealing with trolls and everything that has gone on. And
Yeah, what did I miss? I should just. That was going to be my first tweet. Hey,
I thought
folks,
it was really funny
miss?
because we need to share maybe on another show where I was sending you news updates via text of just random shit that was on Twitter.
Yeah,
just to kind of entertain you and make sure you.
Great. You kind of gave me the tweet feeling, but I am going to time box it. I am going to come back. I am going to limit it, partly because it's a debilitating addiction. Second of all, it kind of tends to be, a bit of a toilet stream at times from Twitter. I mean, I love it, but it can get a little messy, and also just because I just think that by limiting the exposure, less is more, right? So I think I got a little carried away for 10 years, and now I need to dial it back a bit. So I'm excited. But we have so much to talk about today. But I have a question for you, Ryan, because it's our 50th show.
It is our
show number 50. Here's my question for you. Any chance you got a special guest lined up for us today? Oh,
so glad you asked. I want to welcome that Christina G to the show. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
All right, we're gonna do our little switcheroo real quick. Zip.
Zip. All right. I'm back. Hello. Oh, how nice! I get to be part of the show too. And
so welcome, Christina. It turns out we have a lot in common. Well, you and me, both from North Carolina. You're a big NASA dork like Graham and I, apparently, and
yes.
True
Marvel fangirl right in your bio. So we've got a lot to talk about today.
Let's do it.
All right. Let's talk about space first because I just saw the latest social media post from NASA today talking about the launch that's coming up in a couple of weeks. Graham and I just geek out about these, but I know you've had a lot to do with NASA Social and some other things in your time in that space. And, what is it that you've sort of either enjoyed this year or you're looking forward to coming up this summer?
I absolutely love the idea of, I find that especially last year, some of the most powerful, positive moments that happened were from NASA.
Yeah.
I mean, they really felt like they were towing the line for optimism and hope for the rest of us.
Totally agree.
And so I've done NASA socials in Florida on the ground, which is incredibly amazing. I can't speak highly enough of the NASA social team. Every Webby they've ever gotten, they've deserved, without question. And I'm looking forward to being able to go back again. I'm very excited to be able to watch. There's something incredibly powerful. The launch that I was at was supposed to happen the day after the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, and then it got pushed back, and then it got pushed back again. And so we went to try. They basically canceled it they aborted at 15 seconds left because there was a storm cell that was literally right where it shouldn't have been. And so went back the next day, did it, and it had been raining all day. And so I took my family with me thinking, because there's no way to guarantee it's going to go. So at least if it doesn't go, it's a family vacation now. So it was raining. I took my kids to Disney Springs. We hung out, and literally an hour before I was supposed to meet them, I was like, I don't know if I should go. And my husband's like, well, it's up to you. And I said, if I don't go, it's going to go up, and I'm not going to have that chance. And I'm going to literally regret it for the rest of my life. So I was like, I have to go. I'll just stand in the rain. I don't care. I'll just make it work. And all of us had that exact same vibe. And so we're standing there, and they take you to where the NASA, there's set areas where the NASA teams get to watch that are closer than the average bear. Everyone else usually has like they're on the beach or
Now,
there's
is that
like
the bleachers that are like right across on the water?
we didn't get those. It's this like grassy area that where we
Okay.
were able to see it. That was across the water from
Where the
where our
clock
launch
is,
pad
maybe?
was. There wasn't a clock. No,
Okay.
the clock is right there where like right beside the news, like the news
Oh,
building, the
that's right. That's
Cronkite
where
building.
the press is. Yes, of course. Yes.
So we didn't go there. I mean, we went there our first day, but that's not where our launch point was. Our launch point was it was like a side of the road, but it was almost
Wow.
like this almost like a cul-de-sac, and you have this little stretch, but it goes to a dead end. And so you get on the grass and you're able to watch. And so we get there like an hour before it's supposed to launch, and they're just telling us like we're gonna wait. And it's so weird because we all like collectively we wound up getting smaller. So they picked 50, then it was 25, and then everyone had to start leaving as things were getting rescheduled. And so I want to say there was like 15 of us from the original group that were selected that actually got to go and were there on the grass with us. And none of us believed it was going to take off. And then like 25 minutes before, like it honestly felt like this like aura, like vibe, just like
Go fever.
went through all of us, and we're just like, dude, I think this is going to happen.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we're shaking
so cool.
and then like still had to do the countdown, still had to figure it out. And then it just became very clear, like the bird's going to come up, it's going to go. And you go and you see it, and then you hear the sonic boom, and it just like reverberates through every cell of your body. It's just, I don't know how else to describe it. And we were able to go through other things. Like what they do is they, if you get selected for NASA Social, I highly recommend it, but you get behind the scenes access. So you get to go in buildings. We were on the grounds. We ate at Subway with like all the other astronauts and like all the other tech and engineers. We went to the press conference at the Cronkite building. We went inside like basically all the buildings. We drove by. We did that tour where all the launch sites are. We got to see like the Tesla building and we not the Teslas, but we saw SpaceX, but there's like Teslas all over. It looks like a dealership because like everyone that works there has a Tesla. So you go there, you see the SpaceX building with all the Teslas, you see like everything else. We got to see the launch pad for what was going to be our launch pad, got to take pictures. There's the fence around everything. So you're taking pictures with and without the fence to be able to show scale. Then you get tickets to the Space Museum. So you get to go to the Space Museum, get to go through all that. So I went and saw that. And I'm always that person, like I'll go to any museum and there's always like one specific thing I want to see. And so when I went to the Space Museum, I wanted to see anything that had to do with Sally Ride. She's the sole reason why I wanted to be an astronaut when I was little, that I still love space, why I still love NASA. So I was like, I just need to find Sally. Like I just need, and there's that moratorium area in the legends. And I was like, I need to find Sally. Yep. And so I told my family, like my husband was with me, my two kids, and I was like, y'all enjoy. I got to see her first. Then I can circle back and do everything, but like I have to pay my respect. So I went and saw her, and it was just, I'm a huge fan.
That is so cool. Ryan, I don't know about you, man, but none of that sounds appealing to me. That all sounds really boring. I would hate it. You know, Ryan and I were lucky enough to be present for a SpaceX launch, and we had, now we were not, we happened to be at, we went to Kennedy Space Center for it. So we were there more as tourists and not really as social. We were working at an event in the area, but the vibe and the crowd was electric. Now, you know, you talk about sort of regrets for the rest of your life. I sort of regret that I never got to see a shuttle launch. I've been a fan of this since I was a wee lad. But just getting to see the SpaceX launch and booster landing, like with the sonic booms and the crowd and just the whole notion of it. I mean, the two of us were just on cloud nine. It was intense. And I know what you're talking about with the Hall of Heroes and the memorial area, seeing, pieces of Challenger and Columbia and seeing Gus Grissom's suit and, all these different things that you get close to them and seeing the recreation of the Mercury control room and just all these different things. It was like a sensory overload. It took me like days to and actually seeing Atlanta, seeing a shuttle for the first time. I mean, I fully admit that I was in tears. Like it was overwhelming to me. I never thought I'd get close to one, and there it was. And it was incredible. It really
That's
was.
beautiful.
Yeah,
I really recommend when the NASA Social comes back that you both apply.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah,
Please apply.
We've been watching.
Oh yeah.
We've been watching. So my take was when we went there, it was similar to I think what you're saying, where we didn't know if a launch was going to happen. It had been delayed several days, and we just happened to be in Orlando for a conference, and we were already planning to spend like our last day before we travel just to go do the tour, and it just happened to line up that they launched that afternoon.
Nice.
Well, it happened to line up that they launched because they were going to launch the day before, and you and I were bummed we were going to miss it.
Right.
But a storm cell, Florida, right,
Yep.
pops up out of nowhere, scrubs the launch, and the next day we looked at each other. We're like, "Yeah, we're out of here." Like we just left. I mean, I don't even know if we were supposed to work. We just took off. We took somebody's car, and just bolted.
Which one did you go to?
We caught it.
I don't remember the number.
We'd have to look at it on Twitter.
It was April 2019.
Okay.
I
was wondering if it was mine, and I was like,
well, no, we were getting ready. So we were getting ready. It might be, but they had already built the stage and everything for the outdoor ceremony for the 50th. It was going to happen, I guess, six weeks later.
Okay.
So the cool thing was a big crowd gathered there on the lawn, and they did broadcast it up on the big stage. So that was not something you'd normally see. So we just
you saw it like on TV in front of you, and then in the distance you saw it actually going. So you got like the double effect. It was like a total party atmosphere. The rocket, we were not far from the rocket guards. It was like anywhere you took, you were just immersed in this experience. And
gotcha. Yeah, mine was right after the 50th. We were going to go down for the 50th, and then it got originally postponed after that. But bless the social team, because they worked the 50th, and then they did the NASA social like literally 2 days later.
Yeah. And
you wouldn't know. They were kind, they were sweet, they were helpful. Like I'm a fangirl of the NASA social team. Like bless them. Like world class, global class, like galactic class. Like I have nothing but
class.
Like amazing, amazing
galactic effort. I will say this: I work in social. You work in social a bit. Graham works in social a bit. Yep. I mean, pinch yourself if that were your job, right? Like, I think I would show up with a smile every day. Not that I don't.
I've always said I wouldn't live in Florida. I would live in Florida for that, or Texas.
It's valid. It's valid. It's just some of the nicest people, and also that they're there because, like, I always joke there's certain companies that you think about working for, and you're like, the janitor's smarter than me there. The janitor at NASA is smarter than me. I've accepted that. Like,
Ryan, you got a typo in there, buddy. It's not 52. 52nd.
All right, I'm taking it down. But the point is, I was typing as we were talking.
Oh my God!
Apollo 11, not 11th, went up today or launched today, 52 years ago. And the other cool story for us related to that is that Graham and I interviewed one of the data specialists.
That's awesome.
He was supporting they had like these 6 people that were like the super specialist or what they call the system of systems that go into the whole, Apollo
super systems.
program. Yep. We interviewed one of those guys who happens to be like in our industry now at that same conference that we're talking about. And he told us how he got to like go out like danger.
He was 1 mile. He was 1 mile from the Apollo 11 launch. He got what was called a yellow pass. His manager gave it to him because he'd been doing such a good job as a super systems engineer. He still lives very close to it. Still lives right there. And he got to be 1 mile out. So where there was this like tank that would go in and get the crew out if they needed to be there. And he said the sound was extraordinary. It was there's nothing, unless he got up to Krakatoa or something, there's nothing that could possibly come close to what that experience was like. So weren't we going to talk about anything else today, or are we just going to riff on space?
We could talk about.
We got to talk about Loki, brother, and Black Widow.
We got to move on. You're right. We're going to have to move fast now.
If you want to talk about Marvel, we could do that.
So the reason I reached out to Christina is because I was thinking to myself, it says Marvel fangirl in your Twitter bio. So I'm like, okay, we're going to put you to the test.
Let's go.
Bring you on. Let's talk about, we're going to talk about 3 things. I think we should talk about, of course, Loki. We've all been geeking out about Loki. They just had the season 1 finale this week. We're also going to talk about Black Widow. I think all of you have seen it. I hope.
Oh, yeah.
And then I think we should talk about a little bit about how Deadpool now apparently is kind of sort of coming over to the MCU.
I think that's a great lineup. I think we should pause for 1 second and warn anyone who happens to be watching this. If you have not seen Black Widow, if you have not seen Loki, or if you somehow missed the Deadpool announcement and you're living under a giant rock, please go watch those and then come back and finish the show, because we want you. We've got lots of cool stuff and opinions and theories to share, and so we're going to talk about Loki first.
So. That caption is everything.
So I just have been shipping these people pretty hard during the whole thing, and they look like it kind of all comes together in this finale, right? What was your take on these characters to begin with, Christina?
I love it. I love that they found. I think Sylvie being blended as Loki and Sylvie, and that being one character, makes a lot of sense. Yeah. They did the same thing with Kang, because the one who remains is not Kang in the comics. But I feel like they understand there's a crap ton of IP, and so where we can consolidate makes sense. I mean, that's why we have Hela. I don't think we'll ever have Angela, because Angela was also blended with Hela to like what was created in Ragnarok. So they've found opportunities to really consolidate where they can, which I think is incredibly smart. I love the idea that Loki, of course he's a narcissist, and of course the person he's going to love is himself. But I also think that there's something to be said for, first off, Jonathan Majors was amazing as Kang. And I love that they gave us Kang, but not Kang the Conqueror. It was such a great way.
He's going to be Kang the Conqueror in Ant-Man into the
Quantumania, yeah.
Quantumania, right? Isn't that the one he was cast in? Yeah, that's going to be fantastic.
So he's going to be Kang the Conqueror. And I kept saying, they can't give us Kang, it's too early.
Yeah.
Because I'm thinking, they're not going to introduce Kang the Conqueror. And they didn't. They introduced Kang. The benevolent TVA creator.
Yep.
But there's a scene that I think is really indicative of how Loki feels about Sylvie. Is Loki's able to be a trickster because he understands human behavior quite well, and he understands how other people behave. And because he understands other people, he knows how to betray them. He knows how to figure out how to trick them. He knows how to get his way. He doesn't understand Sylvie, even though she's him. And so he gives her something that no other person on the planet and in the world can give him. We have similar vibes, and you understand, but you don't know me, and you can't predict what I'm going to do. And you see that same kind of joy of the unknown with Jonathan Majors Kang when he crosses the threshold to not knowing anymore. And he goes from this really playful guy to this childishly playful guy. His demeanor changes, and instead of being terrified that now anything is possible because he doesn't have a finite set of actions that's going to occur, instead he's now just as much a part of the audience as we are. He doesn't know what's going to happen to him. We don't know what's going to happen to him. I think I know, but I'm not sure. And so he almost becomes a member of the audience in that moment. Hey, I don't know what the writers wrote for this either. What do you think is going to happen? It was so cute and playful and genuine, and just so you see this joy in the unknown, and they call it free will, but it's really this joy of the unknown. And so that's when you start seeing the branch. The branch doesn't start because Sylvie kills him. It starts because once the end isn't known, anything is possible. So it branches because that's possibility, and then it further branches because she doesn't prune it by not killing him. She decides to let's go, and that's when you see this massive explosion. So I think it's incredibly important. I love their background. I wish they'd done more with the other Lokis. I feel like Richard E. Grant was wasted.
Oh, I love him. He's so great.
I think it would have been really cool to do a red herring and have him be the big bad. And he said that he had previously faked his own death. So it'd be cool if he was see, I told you, but you weren't listening.
Yeah, right.
But the writers are clearly smarter than I am, because there's so many lines that were just so truly beautiful. At the very end when they've done their Matrix style, string fighting, and then they get to each other and he has the knife at his neck and she says, you can't trust and I can't be trusted, is what he says. Yep. And just that line, I just need to hug the writers and be like, just the talent.
There were so many
talent.
the entire
so many things like that. Yeah,
so many, and I was just writing them down as notes, and then I don't even have them now. But it was just like that whole episode. And also, I want to talk about the story is wonderful. We love all these characters. Mobius. Is it Hunter B-15 or D-15? I forgot. Everybody.
Yeah.
Or B-15.
Yeah. I love everybody. I feel like they left a lot of room. I feel like they ended where they needed to end. I'm very interested to see how season 2 goes. But I loved everything. I loved that. Like, I loved the X-Files-y opening.
Yeah.
I loved the Doctor Who moments.
Yes, very Whovian.
Like,
we picked up on that too.
Yeah, like it was very Whovian. And then there was also like when they go to Lamentus. Lamentus was such a, like, you can see that it's clearly written by core sci-fi fans, and they really pulled from all these things. So the Lamentus episode reminded me of what is it called? New World, something Worlds. It's a video game. I can't think of it what it's called now. But it has the same color scheme.
Cyberpunk.
Outer Worlds.
Oh, Outer Worlds. That's what it was. Yes, Outer Worlds.
So Outer Worlds has that exact same color scheme. It has that kind of like Fallout in space vibe, which was very Lamentus. And just like how the train was, and that woman that they stopped at to her place to try to get help. Like everything felt very Outer World. So what you have is this like clear homage to like all of these sci-fi pieces, and it doesn't feel derivative because it's like, oh no, I know you're a geek like us, and I know you're going to see what this is. And so like there was so many moments that were clearly Whovian, that were clearly X-Files, that were clearly Outer Worlds, all kind of packaged. And then also like I'm a massive, like I married a gamer. I married my golden retriever gamer. So I also loved The Office. The Office gave me major like Portal meets BioShock vibes, which I am permanently here for. Mm-hmm. And the video that he's shown when he goes to the TVA, like all I saw from that was like, y'all can make Portal now.
Yep. Well, you know what's interesting?
Give me Portal.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you what's interesting is that so Ryan and I both work at IBM, and there's a couple of times where actual IBM Selectric 2 typewriters are showing. They show them a lot, and they actually show them in close-up during the credits, and they're rebranded. The IBM nameplate, which is the same size, same place, same everything, is removed, and it says TVA. So we got into this like wonderful discussion internally at IBM that the TVA is actually IBM in another universe, and because all the offices that they show, some of the places they show look like some of the IBM offices like in Europe and Russia and other places in the 60s and 70s. Another thing that I picked up on was, so there's a story in Norse mythology, and I don't know if I'm going to pronounce it right, but it's Jormungandr or something like that, but it's known as the Midgard serpent or world serpent. So it's a sea serpent that Loki and Thor end up going and fighting, and Thor ends up cutting its head off. And what was interesting was when Sylvie's Nexus event happened and they show her when she gets taken, she's actually playing with the boat and the fishermen that are from that myth. And then later, but right before they go to see the one who remains and they go through the void, that serpent monster in the cloud looks exactly like the world serpent.
Oh, that's
so
cool.
It's really interesting that whether I'm just seeing that because I read this stuff or that was what they actually went for. It sure seems
like an Easter egg I haven't heard yet. I appreciate it.
I haven't heard that Easter egg, but like I said, Marvel, they do their homework.
There's a lot of layers.
They do their homework.
There's a lot of layers. I appreciate it.
There's a famous thing called Thor's fishing trip. So if you ever, where he goes fishing with this giant Hymir, and there's a whole story to it. And so it's totally connected to Loki and all this different stuff. But basically what she's playing with when she's sitting on what looks like the entrance to the Rainbow Bridge is the boat and the giant.
That's very cool.
Now, just what about production value? I just geek out about all the behind the scenes stuff of filmmaking in general. And so I was constantly trying to see, and I like to look at what is real and practical versus the effects. And one of the big companies that does a lot of the costuming and, whether it's helmets or props or anything, is named Ironhead Studios. And if you go follow, I highly recommend anyone go follow them on Instagram, because they always reveal, never in advance, but always after. They're like, it was really fun to make Loki's, they made the classic Loki, the whole thing. They made, Sylvie's horns, broken horn. I think they even made, a lot of the variants that were in the later episodes, made a lot of that stuff. But I just geek out so much about the costuming. That's just it. The production value of this show. I know everyone's been joking about, comparing this to maybe Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
You can't do that. You can't do that.
But I do think
that's like comparing an AP class to kindergarten.
No, but that's what I mean.
That's not even close.
Somebody made the joke of like, I bet Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is like mad they didn't get the Loki budget or something. But it's not just budget. It's what are you going to do?
It's writing too. The writing for me, like Tomorrow War. I watched that. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. It was garbage, and that for me is like what happens when you spend a lot of money. Right. And none of it goes to the writer's room.
True.
None of it.
That was all set. It was all set pieces.
I think my single critique, my only critique of the Loki push was from the show to merch. So they dropped really traditional boring stuff. And so really what I would love is if they picked like a piece of merchandise from each individual show and it hits the shop, it hits the Disney store. The day, I don't
understand why they don't do that. I was able to get a variant jacket, but it was like jumping through hoops to find a decent one.
Well, I love the variant jacket. I didn't buy one, but there's things that I want. Like for the first episode, I want Infinity Stone paperweights. Period. Yes, where are my Infinity Stone paperweights? Where are they?
Or it's like obvious things.
And then episode 5, I want a stuffed alligator Loki.
Right.
Period. Yes. End of discussion. I want one. Yes. Like if it's on Etsy, I will buy one. Like I don't care. I know what size it needs to be. I know how soft it needs to. Like I already know in my head, and I'm just like.
But I also want like a TVA notebook, a TVA pen. I want like a TVA like employee shirt, or
I want a temp pad, but it's a cover for your phone.
Yes.
So like the back of your phone looks like a temp pad. Like I have so many ideas, and I'm just like, all right. Pick 1 or 2 things from every single episode, and that's what you want.
Totally agree.
We are not like you at all.
Yeah. Well, all my merch is over there. I have a Porg, and I have like 3 Baby Yodas, 3 Go-Go's, and then I have like a little Batgirl that's like running around. But that's the thing. Like, I think that they should have done that. I feel like out of all the things, that's the only missed opportunity. I would love for there to be also like the TVA office posters. I would love those.
Yeah.
I would put them right here in a heartbeat.
Yes.
Like I can think of opportunities. That's literally my only critique. Okay, but we also saw that with The Mandalorian.
Right.
Because Baby Yoda came out and everyone lost their mind and they didn't have the merchandise ready. And I was like, how do you not have it ready? Like, I'd give my kidney. Where do I need to go? Like, what do I need to do? Give me my Grogu doll. And so I feel like that's the only disconnect. Like if I have to be picky because I love Marvel with my whole heart.
Hey, that's a big disconnect.
Disney's really good about making money. Disney's really good about making money.
They've been struggling. No, but Marvel has been, I would argue that Marvel in general has been struggling because when you think about, let's transition to Black Widow for a sec.
Yeah.
There was the whole,
I love that they're struggling. Let's talk about Black Widow. You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but I love that was the segue.
It's the toy tie-in because
I'm gonna go get a beer for this discussion. I'll be right back.
Go do it. Originally, there was the whole "Where's Black Widow?" or I forgot what the hashtag was, but when Avengers came out, there was no Black Widow toys.
Nope.
And they not for like a couple of years. It was really bizarre. And I took it upon myself to like every time I'd go into Walmart, every time I'd go into a novelty store, I would actually post and really give them a hard time. And Now that's not the case so much, but I'm not sure if they haven't learned the lesson of timing for sure.
I have not. Okay, so
Yeah.
do you want me to start on my thoughts of Black Widow, or?
Go for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can I just do an audio check? Is my audio still working?
Yes.
Yes.
Sure.
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Please give us your thoughts. We want to hear them.
So Black Widow's already had her movie. It was called The Winter Soldier.
Right.
The best she ever was, the strongest she ever was.
Yep.
There was always this temptation of whether or not she was going to be seen as they're just going to put her and Steve together, and she's dated basically everybody in the MCU in the comic books anyway, so like, let's do it. And then they never do it, and I had such respect for them because they play with the idea, like they definitely put it out in the universe, and then they never do it, and I was like, good for you.
Yes.
I think that they could have done more. I think that if they had done Natasha's backstory, I think that it would have been especially since they did Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Bucky trained her and was a love interest. So can you imagine if you start with Falcon and the Winter Soldier doing flashbacks of his relationship with Natasha, and then you do the movie right after that, and you show literally the same flashbacks, but now it's from her perspective. Like if you're gonna mess up the timing and have it be this late, at least have it connect with other stuff. I feel like that was a missed opportunity in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Complete missed opportunity in the movie. The problem is that people say that the movie was delayed like a year. No, it was delayed like 5 years. Because that's when it should have happened. Yep. Because she has plot armor at all times. Because we know that this happens between Civil War and Infinity War, and we know she shows up, so we know that no matter what happens in this movie, she's fine.
Yep.
We know that she's completely okay. I have a problem with a lot of the writing. A lot of it. I feel like they chose the easy female pieces. Like they chose the easy, like, is this kind of controversial stuff? Florence Pugh knocked it out of the entire
She stole
part.
the show. She stole the show.
But it's her vehicle. I think she was always meant to steal the show.
Yeah.
I don't think
it was a passing of baton for that.
The way that, and I think that they knew that it was too late, but they're like, we need to say goodbye to Natasha. We need to make it feel like we actually care. And then we need to give you this other character. And for bonus points, we're going to like knock you on the head that the Thunderbolts are coming. So if you weren't paying attention before, we're going to make it abundantly clear that the Thunderbolts are coming. So if you didn't stay and you didn't see the post-credit scene, Yelena goes to Natasha's gravesite. It's nice that she actually got a gravesite. It's nice. And then Julia Louis-Dreyfus comes in, who is just like perfect at all things because she's Julia Louis-Dreyfus.
Yeah,
like we stand.
Yeah. Yep.
So then she goes and she sends a folder and basically says like, go kill Hawkeye. And then you also see like sick Thunderbolt Ross, and you're like, why does he look like he's dying? And then you're like, oh, I know where this is going. Red Hulk. Cool. So I think that they're just making it more and more obvious of where they're going in the future. I don't think, and that's the thing too, is it's not called Natasha Romanoff. It's called The Black Widow. And Natasha Romanoff is not the only Black Widow. I really don't think it's her movie. I think the movie was always supposed to be Florence Pugh's and Yelena because she is going to be taking the mantle. And you also see this with the things too.
So good.
She's amazing.
Yeah.
But I always think it was her vehicle. Scarlett got pregnant, didn't show up for a lot of the live things. If it was truly her movie, she would have just like, she wound up announcing like during the tour anyway, just show up. But it's not your movie. You are pretending it's your movie for the sake of Marvel, but it's really Florence Pugh's movie. And I think it was written that way. If you go back and you look at the writing, they give her the juicy stuff. They give her the meat.
Oh yeah.
They give her the stuff where she's able to
comic relief.
She's able to prove who she is. She's able to prove that she has a spot at the table. So I think she did an amazing job. I think she stole the show, but I think she stole the show because it was meant to be hers. Yeah. I also think, and I think I can say this as a woman, I don't think y'all can say this as a woman. You'd probably get in trouble for it. I'm sick of people giving bad writing and having the entire cast be women and think that that's enough.
Fair.
I demand good movies. We saw this with Wonder Woman versus Wonder Woman 2.
Oh.
Giving me a woman protagonist and a woman villain is not enough. I have better standards than that. I expect better work. And you didn't give me Russo level direction, and I'm going to call you on that. Like, I have expectations for Marvel. I had expectations for Wonder Woman, and that doesn't change because you've put more women in the cast. Thanks for the casting.
We all do. I mean,
but you need to give
me,
me good work.
For me,
well, as a woman, maybe I can't say that, but I do agree.
It was all, to me, it was like all action sequences, which to me, when you think about a character like Black Widow, I wanted to see more of the spycraft or more of the like female James Bond thing or something along those lines. Yeah. And all we got was unbelievable physics of like jumping and falling and all that, which we've come to expect from Marvel movies, but it, like you said, it's kind of I couldn't suspend my belief so much with some of it, right? You have the Crimson, the Crimson what?
Red Guardian. I actually got a kick out of him.
I didn't like
the
him.
Red Guardian.
Yeah.
But I'm just a huge David Harbour fan, so.
Well, I'm a huge David Harbour fan too, but I feel like what they did with that character is the exact same thing they did with his Hellboy.
Yeah.
They took a character that he could have done really well, and they didn't give him what he needed to be as successful as he could have.
Well, he was the comic foil for everything too.
And I think that they completely wasted Rachel Weisz. Like they completely wasted her. And then they also didn't make her have any standards. They're like, I'm a baddie, but I'm not really a baddie. Oh, I don't know. I didn't realize that was that way. And I feel like the tone shifted. They started really strong. Well, the whole opening was wonderful. Oh, it was wonderful. It was powerful. It immediately put you in this world where you want a hero because we need a hero when this stuff is happening. And then they realized, like, maybe the audience can't take this for 2 hours. Maybe we need to lighten this up, do some stuff, have some stunts, have some CGI. And I was just like, I feel like they could have pushed that momentum a lot further. I also think it would have been a huge opportunity for Marvel to do like a fundraising campaign against trafficking because of this movie. I feel like that would have been like a really, like, not only are we telling this story, but we want to also essentially like help the heroes in real life. And so here's a campaign that's aligned with like taking steps to like save people who are being trafficked. I think that could be incredibly powerful, and they didn't do it.
I thought that the Rachel Weisz's pigs did a really good job. They were good animal actors. I thought they were very believable as a smart, as like a mentally controlled pig. I thought that was good. I mean, I think from an entertainment standpoint, like I didn't feel like I wasted my time or money watching the movie, but I could tell that I agree with everything you're saying.
I feel like it's Matrix 3. You watched it for closure.
Yeah.
It wasn't good, but you got your closure, and so you're like, okay.
And it was like,
it's kind of like
the action. Like I said, like
I remember talking to a friend of mine once. Yeah, they check boxes. I remember talking to a friend of mine once about a movie that really should never be spoken of, but I'll say its title here, and then we can all wince and groan and say, "Oh God!"
Oh no!
But Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls. I ended up talking to a friend of mine once, and I was like, I actually, honestly, legitimately think that's one of the worst movies that's ever been made. It's just a full scale train wreck. And he said, I was just happy to spend 2 hours with my old friend Indiana Jones again. And I was like, yeah, no.
Well, and then already.
I went with family, so we couldn't leave. But as soon as the fridge scene happened, and I was like, y'all, can we please leave?
Well, they took that from that was supposed to be how Marty moved through time in Back to the Future.
I just cannot. I can't deal with it. And now here's the thing is
so bad.
I don't think that Indiana should be touched anymore. Like I think it should be done. I think we should have learned from the Crystal. Like if you can't get Cate Blanchett to give you a good performance, like you've done all the things wrong. But they keep like this cast Like, I was like, I'm not going to watch Indiana Jones 5. I absolutely refuse. And then they cast Mads Mikkelsen. I was like, damn it. I have to watch Mads Mikkelsen now. Like, I stand him. Like, I watch everything he's in. I'm like, oh.
I had a similar problem with Bill and Ted 3. I was like, oh my God, I've waited. So I'm a huge Bill and Ted fan. And the first one, the second one is fun, but the first one just like, I mean, I was there opening night. It was like a big deal for me. But the third one, I was so excited. I was talking with Ed Solomon on Twitter. We were doing all these different things. I was so excited about it. And then I watched it and I was like, what the fuck am I watching? Like, this is a train wreck. And even my son was like, Dad, this is a really, really bad movie. And I turned to him and I was like, yeah, but I'm just happy to have 2 hours to spend with my friends Bill and Nope.
No.
Like, I am not going to justify this train wreck. It's not okay.
See, in our house, we keep watching it, but we go heavy MST3K riff tracks. Like,
oh yeah.
We just mercilessly, like, we'll finish, but we will destroy you. Like,
well, yesterday they said they're looking at making a fourth one, and I was like, stop. Stop.
You have enough money. Please stop it. Yeah.
Stop. You don't, like, seriously.
Speaking of train wrecks.
Stupid.
All right. Yeah, I'm sorry.
We had this week maybe one of my most exciting things because my twin Ryan Reynolds put on the Deadpool mask again and hung out with his buddy.
It's the only way we can tell you apart, when he puts on the mask. Otherwise, it's like there's no way to tell you apart.
I threw the beard out because it was just getting really, like, disturbing. I couldn't get on the street. But twins. Deadpool is in the MCU now. But interesting thing, did a reaction video for the trailer for apparently a movie that
Free Guy.
So is Free Guy going to be a good movie? That's my question. Like, was this a brilliant promotion?
It's the Lego movie. It's the Lego movie with Jodie. It's Lego movie with Jodie Comer. Yeah, I love Jodie Comer, so I'll watch it for her because I absolutely adore her. And obviously, Ryan Reynolds is not bad to look at for 2 hours. But it's Lego movie, like you said. It's Lego movie meets Ready Player One. I think
it's a formula that they want to rinse and repeat now. I mean, even like, so being a Ryan Reynolds super fan, his movie, the Six Underground movie on Netflix.
It's Fast and the Furious. I mean, that was Fast and the Furious.
Yeah, that was Fast and the Furious combined with Suicide Squad or whatever you want to, something like that.
Yeah.
Which I loved it. I've actually watched it 3 times. I don't know if I should admit that. I like the set pieces. I like everything they did in it. It's a terrible movie, right? Like,
it's pretty. It's just not smart.
Yeah. Right.
There's definitely other things to watch.
It feels like, you know what it is? It feels like it's like a music video that you really love that was like stretched out to 90 minutes.
So it's a DC film.
Well, right. Exactly. So, So we're all going to see the Guy movie, right?
I'll watch it. I'll watch it for Jodie Comer because I love her.
Yeah,
I'll watch it when it hits whatever it hits, but I'm not going to a theater for that.
No, I'm not going to a theater either. I think that's the thing too is people are. I think the movie theaters realize they need to adapt away from theaters, and they just think, "Oh, streaming, that'll fix it." And that's literally like scratching the surface of the issues. You have the issues of. It needs to be incredibly important for me to go. I love Marvel movies. I didn't see Black Widow on the first night, and I'm usually the first thing there.
True.
And so for me, it really comes down to, for the theater experience, a blockbuster obviously is great. But when all Hollywood makes are blockbusters, then only the top echelon is going to be treated like an actual blockbuster. Like, I absolutely have to see this in person and deal with other humans who eat popcorn with their mouth open. Like, it has to be, it's a big ask. It's a huge ask when I can watch it at home and not have to deal with humans, pause when I need anything, can pause if my kids have a question. Like, it's a really big ask. And they continue to make all of these reboots, and I'm over it. I've been over it, but now I'm super over it because over the past year, I've realized that I can watch Shaun of the Dead and Pride and Prejudice. Like, that's the two sides of my coin, of my personality coin, is I watch Pride and Prejudice or Emma, and then I watch Shaun of the Dead. And I've watched them over 100 times in the past year. It was my therapy. So I don't need to pay a theater to watch something. I've got stuff. I'm fine.
I will tell you this: the only theater that I actually will pay money to go into physically is Alamo Drafthouse because of that. Because of I want the experience. I want it to feel like it's a night out that's whatever special. They go above and beyond. It's got an open bar with actual premium stuff, and I totally get that.
Meanwhile, Ryan's wife is like, "No, this does not count as a special night out, dear.
No,
you have to do a little better than the Alamo Drafthouse, I'm sure."
She was never a theater goer to begin with, so it's more of a guy's night. Because she's not going to see she's never seen a Marvel movie.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we're very different.
What?
Not Marvel, but my first date with my husband was Spider-Man 3.
Okay, wow.
So not Marvel, but Marvel. But that was how that was
cool.
our first date was Spider-Man 3 for all the good and all the bad.
Okay, well then that's
we've been ride or die from the jump.
You survived it. You knew it was meant to be after that, right?
We survived that movie together. We got through it and we talked about it because my husband's a massive Spider-Man fan. He actually went into illustration and graphic design because he's a huge Jack Kirby fan and like all of the things. So yeah.
Awesome. All right. Well, Christina, thank you so much for being
on. Absolutely.
Thank you everyone for watching. Is there anything you need to plug here today, Christina? Anything cool you're working on?
I'm working on a few things, but I just hope everyone has a good weekend. I hope people are able to chill, watch some stuff online that you like, or go to a movie or whatever. Watch Endgame again. Whatever you got to do. Whatever you got to do.
Well, I want to go watch Winter Soldier again because I didn't say it before, but it's my favorite, and for all the reasons you said.
Same. It's my favorite.
Cool deal. Well, Graeme, thank you much for being on the show again and on social media. I guess again, you've rejoined the universe.
Whoa! We're getting there.
Well,
he's walking towards it again.
Overcompensating. I've missed you, buddy. I've missed you. All right.
I missed you too, buddy.
Christina, thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you.
Next Friday on the Week's End.